Welcome to the Pretty Rich Podcast, where every woman is the heroine of her own story. I'm Sheila Bella, and I built $1 million beauty business from nothing. So maybe if you listen enough, you'll start to believe that you can do it too. Because if the perfect job doesn't exist, you can create it. If the job you want isn't hiring you, you can unapologetically hire yourself. Each episode will equip you with empowering conversations on how to grow a lifestyle that's pretty rich in love, beauty, wellness, and financial wealth. I'm Sheila Bella, beauty business coach, celebrity brow artist, microblading educator, entrepreneur, wife, mother, friend, daughter, and your forever positive beauty biz fairy godmother. Boomcack, let's go. What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Sheila Bella. Oh my goodness, happy Halloween. It's Halloween night, and I am so excited to dress up tonight as superheroes with my little family. Bo is going to be the Flash, and Gray, my little 1-year-old, is going to be Superman, but he says man. Every time he picks up like an action figure, all of them are man. Spider-Man, Aquaman, Superman. He's so funny. So I can't say I have a whole lot of Halloween decorations. I'm not really a Halloween person. I'm more of a Christmas person. So you best believe that I'm going to start decorating for the holidays tomorrow, November 1st. That's right, because in the Philippines, where I grew up until I was 8 years old, there was no Thanksgiving. So right after Halloween, we decorate for Christmas because it's the next holiday up. As you guys know, I'm really good with Instagram stories, so you better believe you're not going to miss a thing about all the craziness up in this household, how I'm going to literally turn the entire house and make it look just like Disneyland, but during the holidays. It is ostentatious. Can you smell the gingerbread? Oh, you know what? Bath & Body Works has this air freshener that smells like hot chocolate with peppermint. That makes me want to wear several sweaters at a time and curl up with a good book. Speaking of book, I am reading Danette May's The Rise right now. And fortunately for you guys, she's our guest. I can't even tell you how good this book is. I can't. I'm actually purposely whispering it right now because if I actually let go and do what my soul really wants to do, which is to scream out loud at how amazing this book is, I'm going to break the mic and your ears, and it's not going to be good. So, reeling it in. You get Danette's book, The Rise. It is literally life-changing. I can't say enough about it. It is raw, it is real, and I don't even like holding paper books, like paper books. But yeah, I read it on the plane on the way to Charlotte, and it's so good. And I usually like audiobooks, but this one, she did such an amazing job. And she's our guest today. I am so honored to have her on the show. But before we get to this incredible interview, I'd like to speak to those of you who are still kind of confused about this whole social media marketing thing, and you're doing the thing. You're posting once a day. You're posting bright pictures. You're making sure your captions have a call to action, and your posts still aren't bringing in new customers. I encourage you to send me either an email, sheila@sheilabella.com, or direct message me on Instagram because it's my favorite way to connect with you guys, and ask me what resources I have that might be right for you, because I have so many programs and resources available for those who are struggling to monetize their art. I have one-on-one coaching, I have group coaching, and I have video training series that are very affordable. If you want to learn more about how to monetize your beauty business online. Let's face it, all of these brow artists who take this class think life is going to be so easy as soon as I learn how to microblade. Oh, wait, after a few months, skirt, not as easy as you thought now, was it? That's because it's not enough just to know the art. Now that you have the art, you need to know how to sell it, how to communicate your greatness to other people. And I can absolutely help because it is my passion. It really is. I can talk about marketing forever. And as a matter of fact, I do. So without further ado, you guys, here is the interview with Danette May. Hey everyone, welcome to Pretty Rich Podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Anthea.
What's up?
Welcome. And today's guest is Danette May.
Danette May is a #1 best-selling author, world-renowned motivational speaker, wife, celebrity trainer, and loving mother. After losing her son during childbirth, getting divorced, and nearly becoming bankrupt, $47.63 to her name. Being homeless, rising up from witnessing her boyfriend at 12 commit suicide, and later in life trying to attempt it herself, cutting her wrist with a dull knife on the kitchen floor while her daughter and ex-husband were upstairs. She made a decision to stop being a victim and rewrote her story.
Yes.
She is the mastermind behind an 8-figure business, Mindful Health LLC, and the Rise movement that is fueled by her passion to help women rise up to their true light and empowerment through self-love, through healing foods, movement, and mindset, by loving the bodies they live in and love the life they live.
With an audience of more than 2 million people, 2 million souls, Danette has made a huge impact. And it all because of her story. She is on a mission to help women rise up in every way you can imagine. I love her philosophy. I am obsessed officially with her soul.
Yes.
And ladies, this is the one and only powerhouse of wisdom and force of love, Danette May. Woo!
You guys, oh my gosh, I think you had me tearing up because I've never been introduced that way, to just have your story said back. You went right into it. Like, my introduction just hit me to my gut. I had never heard anyone say that. And just to hear the love in your guys' voices, I'm like, how have I never met these two girls? Like, seriously, so powerful. But you guys really caught me. Like, you guys are not afraid to just go into the deep.
Thank you. You're welcome. I'm learning how to say you're welcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes. So Anthea and I are actually in a tribe together. We're reading Tribe Called Bliss by Lori Harder. And so that's like one of the things like we agreed upon at our last tribe meeting. Learn how to say effing thank you. I mean, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Say you're welcome.
Yes, I received that.
Yes. Okay, so we like to start with a game. We like to play it every time we have a new guest. It's called Fat Penguin 5.
Do you get it, Danette? Do you get it?
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think you might be the only person, and Sheila, that gets it. Why, Sheila?
It's an icebreaker.
Oh, it's catchy.
Right? Okay.
I wonder how long that's going to last, Anthea. I don't know.
Well,
We'll see. Maybe 2 more episodes.
Okay.
And then, I don't know. Okay. So it's a series of 5 questions to help our audience get to know you a little better. So we'll start off easy. Number 1, real quick. What is your favorite Starbucks order?
Oh, that's not going to be easy because I will not get 10 foot from a Starbucks. I think it's crazy, toxic coffee.
Yes. Good answer. Rebellious. I like it.
Danette, a book you would recommend to a lot of people.
Ooh, besides mine. No, just kidding.
Yes.
I love your book, The Rise. I recommend that.
it. Yeah.
We already have. Anyway.
Yeah.
Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. Powerful book.
The Big Leap. What's that about?
Really breaking your glass ceiling and understanding why we go to a certain level of excellence in our lives and then either self-sabotage and what's underneath that self-sabotage. Also standing inside your genius. Most of us are standing inside of our zone of excellence, and rarely do we stand inside our zone of genius. So it's a really powerful book calling you forward.
Wow. That's amazing. Let's put that on the list.
That's on the list. What are you grateful for?
Oh, this morning I sat in so much gratitude. You guys, I am so grateful right now because my book launched yesterday, and literally I was walking on Fifth Avenue, walked into the Barnes & Noble, and my husband's like, don't have any expectations. They might not have your book. And my book was sitting on the front table at Barnes & Noble on Fifth Avenue. And I'm like, I'm so grateful to be able to have an opportunity to write a book and have it at a Barnes & Noble in New York City. I'm grateful for a lot of things, but right now that's like really heavy on my heart.
That's so crazy because you're so accomplished.
You're sweet, but I'm still that country girl at my heart. So
Yeah, I saw you skipping, and I think it was Craig holding the camera.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm so happy for you. I moved to California. I'm in California now. 2 years ago from New York City, and I was like, she's gonna go in. She's in there. Oh my gosh. I was like, it's I hear so many times that people, when they witness their song on the radio, and they're like, wow, I remember when. And that must be life changing and a great, wonderful experience.
It is. It really is. Are you guys in New York?
LA.
LA.
LA. That's what I thought.
Palm trees.
Yeah, palm trees.
I was in New York.
Pumpkin spice lattes at 100-degree weather. Yep, we're here. That's us. Your favorite quote of the week? Because mine changes almost daily. So
Yes, this is my favorite one right now. It's hard to read the label while you're in the box. And
oh my gosh,
I love this one because it's so important to ask people people that you trust, people that love you, how are you being perceived? Because it's hard to read your own dang label because you're in the box.
Damn, slain.
Yeah.
One more time. It's hard to read
the label when you're inside the box.
Girl, what? Okay, we can end on that note because that was plenty.
Thank you for coming on. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm deceased. Dead. That's a lot. That's a lot right there. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I have not heard that one before.
No, me
either.
either.
I hadn't heard it either. And I was like, wow, that's my new favorite quote. It's so
sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it might be mine too for the day or forever.
So Danette, there's so many highs right now. Okay. And you just had you've just wrapped up the Rise event in Denver. And which 1,200 women, and then your number one book on self-help. And I just want to know, what is challenging you right now with all of the amazing things that are happening? Is there anything that's challenging you right now?
I would say it's more of an opportunity, and I like to change that language because yes, it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity. And I'm just going to go so vulnerable. I'm having these moments of expectation hangover. And for example, I just literally last week put on this 1,200 plus women live event. And didn't know that but I had this idea and expectation that once that event was over, I was going to feel super accomplished. I was going to feel all this sense of like relaxation and just accomplishment and excitement. And I didn't feel it. And it put me in tears. And I'm learning my opportunity in that is really going, you know what? Sometimes you just don't feel can you love how you just feel? Can you be okay just not feeling accomplished, even though you worked your butt off? And also, can you just enjoy whatever comes up, right? So even just like the book launch, I'm just like trying to be in the feels of it with no expectation, because I'm recognizing that we get caught up in these expectations, and I'm totally prone to it too. And I have to really check myself. Do I have an expectation with this book? Do I have an expectation with this encounter or this event or thing I'm doing? And I need to let myself just enjoy the process without expectations.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. So profound. So profound. Yeah. And very super applicable to my life right now. So thank you for that. Can we just let ourselves be? You know?
And feel all the feels without any expectation of happening in a certain way. Yeah.
I totally understand where you're coming from. So when people see your social media and photos of you, I just want to say you are like the perfect picture for beauty, health, and wealth. And you have it all. You have all the things everybody ever dreams about, and people don't know your story behind it if they haven't looked into your life. They don't know your mess. They don't know where you've come from. And as we know, your mess is your message. So can you please share with all of our listeners the story of where you came from and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, you guys, I truly created the life that I live today. And I truly stepped into 100% responsibility for the life that was going on at the time and the life that's going on today and all the in between. And that's really what's made the difference. So now it seems like the years keep rolling now, but not too long ago, I had lost my son. And that took me in this downward spiral of guilt and shame, and also waking up, to my own lies and my own stories and my own walking zombiness. And I found myself, as you hit a rock bottom, as we all do in different times of our life, that there's always more rock bottom. And I found myself, going through a really hard divorce, money's being stripped from my account without me knowing it, raising 2 daughters on my own, and finding $47.63 in cushions in drawers around the home, playing a game with my daughters, because I was like, we have nothing at this point. But the worst part of all of it was that I was in this state of just massive victim mode. How could this happen to me? How am I this girl? And I had so much pride that I wouldn't tell anyone that I was in this situation. And so I was literally starting from nothing and trying to pick myself off the floor. I had isolated myself from a lot of friends and family due to the loss of my son. It was just my way of not really dealing with it, just pushing people out of my life. And then going through a divorce in a religion where you're not supposed to get a divorce really isolated me as well. So I was isolated from my family. I was isolated from friends, and that was out of my doing. That was out of I had to take 100% responsibility for getting myself in this situation. And I was there, and I really had 2 choices. It was like, you either learn from others that have been in their rock bottom and you climb yourself out and you rise, or you can stay here and play the victim and be sad and be pissed off. You have a choice, and there's only 2. So make your choice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So speaking of the term victim mentality, I have issues with that term, but the way I see it, sometimes you might genuinely be a victim. But regardless, focusing on the solutions
and not the setbacks, and how you've been unfairly treated by others or bad luck isn't going to help you. So it's extremely difficult to do that. Like, for example, if you get hit by a drunk driver and the doctors say that you could never walk again, your natural focus is maybe pursuing a lawsuit by that drunk driver, but your focus, I believe, should be on walking again, on rehabilitating your legs, because I think pursuing that anger isn't going to get you to where you need to go. So,
Mhm.
and it's all about playing the hand that you were dealt. So I actually want to bring up your story about that smiling child in Bali who stayed super positive even though he was dumping out his family's feces. Yeah, can you share what are your thoughts on
You guys,
the
that's so powerful. So you just took us in this circle of saying, "Ooh, I don't." That's victim word kind of gets me, and I want to go back to that because I feel like we've tied these words that we have in the English language, like forgiveness or victim or anger or whatever the word is, and we have our past pain that creates this story around that word, right? So when
Mhm.
I say the word victim, it may be different than what you are interpreting. Because to me, ultimately, even if you got hit by a drunk driver, even if you're dumping feces, so I'll get to that story because that was really powerful for me. It's ultimately your decision because it is what it is. And there's no reason why you shouldn't get rectified. Like, say, I would definitely probably sue the drunk driver, depending on the situation. I have no idea, just really looking at that. But then you have a choice. You get to say, I will walk again, or this is here and this is my now. And there are so many people without legs. There are so many people that can't walk. Where can I show up and serve and open light to that? Because I have my voice, I have my heart, I have my soul still. And where can I show up even greater than when I had legs? You always have a choice. And I believe people would hate to say things happen for a reason, because that kind of is also a blanket statement as well. But
Right.
you
Right.
have to understand that whatever the card that is being dealt, you have decisions based off those cards. You have a decision on how you're going to react to them. And that's where your power lies, is in how you're going to react from those things that come into your life. So that's where your power lies. And so I was in Bali, and we decided to move there with our family for a few months. And we were going to go and do service projects and go to orphanages and really experience this Balinese culture. And of course, we're staying in this beautiful villa in this kind of countryside. And we land in and we're kind of jet lagged. And I remember waking up and I'm like, walking on the road out of my like 5-star villa, right? Like such a brat, like totally in my head of like, I'm so tired. Oh my gosh. I'm just like walking, trying to like shake the jet lag, not in this like, oh my gosh, I'm in Bali. Look how beautiful. And I get to stay here and I got to fly on a plane. I was not in that state. And I turn on this road and this little, like he had to have been like around 4 years old, 4 or 5. Comes out of literally a hut that's made with scraps, some metal, some wood. I mean, you could barely even call it a hut. It was just kind of like a lean-to. And this whole family's living in there. And it's literally maybe a football field away from this 5-star villa that we're staying in. And he walks out and he's just smiling ear to ear. And he's holding this bucket. And I don't know what he has in the bucket, but he walks in front of me. And there's like kind of a little canal on the side of the road, and he's dumping out feces into the canal. This is his job, is to take the waste from the night before and dump it. And he's just smiling, and he is shifting. Before I noticed he dumped the feces, like he's just shifting my state. I'm like, this little boy is so happy. Oh my gosh, like I'm starting to feel lighter because of him. And it was truly this huge slap in the face of, we always have a choice. We always have a choice how we're going to show up, because he was infecting me with his smile. Even though he's dumping feces. And where can we do that? Where can we show up with all of our amazingness that's already presented to us and just shine a little bit more bright into everyone's life?
Is it like a shift of perspective for you?
I believe that our perspective is always our choice. And once you get to that recognition that your perspective and the way you want to choose to look at something, that is your power and that's the direction of your future, like nothing's going to stop you. You can become whatever you want to become. You can do whatever you want to do, but it really boils down to you choosing whatever perspective that's going to take you in that certain direction you're trying to go, or the emotion you're going to feel. No matter what. Like there's no like, oh, you have to own it. And it's okay to own that I'm going to be sad in this moment, or I'm going to be angry in this moment. But I'm going to give myself that time, but I'm going to switch it. I'm going to shift it because I have work to do. I want to be happy. I want to go places. I want to do things. You have to make those decisions.
There's another, I'm just going to read your entire book out loud. It says, seriously, I was like, oh God, I have to ask about this. It quotes that the biggest calamity in our society is not global warming or wars or destruction, although those terrors cannot and should not be ignored. I believe the biggest calamity we face is this thick blanket of self-judgment and self-hate that we have smothered ourselves with for generations.
Yeah. Yes, that gives me chills to actually hear you say that, because it's a bold statement I'm saying, but I feel it in my cells. And I had to say it so boldly because self-judgment, self-hate disguises itself in shame, disguises itself in guilt, disguises it in not speaking your truth. It's such a huge disguise, and it's holding us back to our happiness, our connections, where we're going in the world, how we're really affecting the planet. And I believe it really starts with the individual, not the communities, not the, the countries, but the individual, each person. Yes, stepping into their own self-love.
Absolutely. I'm totally all about that philosophy.
So Danette, I thought that I had to stop on that because I'm so picky on the people that I follow on Instagram, because that's what I flood my brain with. And I just believe in just flooding my mind with positive things and positive people, positive energy. And then some people find that wrong because I am not speaking out in regards to the other things that are happening. But I do believe that it starts with you. If you could prevent like those people from being evil, like start with surrounding them with love, maybe they won't do those evil things.
It's the individual.
And, just the individual. That's why I was like, I have to ask you about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It really starts with each individual stepping into their ownership of their love for themselves and loving all the dimensions of who they are. Loving the low times, loving the high times, loving the wild in you, loving the meek in you, loving all of the different parts of you, because we all have the different parts.
I could just listen to you talk forever. Every word that comes out of your mouth is like gold.
That's what I felt while reading her book. I was like,
seriously, Auntie, I was like, what are you? Yeah, we were texting each other. We're like, are you feeling these feelings that I'm feeling right now?
Yes, the answer is yes. There's also like there's another moment in your book that you say, women do not need to be taught. We awaken.
Ooh.
Right?
That's so
again.
And you go to continue. You don't just magically get your dream because you did a lot of I am statements in front of your mirror.
Yes.
You grind. You do things that are not convenient. You fight exhaustion late at night, working while others sleep. And then you wake up early to keep at it. You get rejected over and over again until you don't.
I'm crying.
Yeah. See? Danette.
Sorry.
Can you please go further in on that? Because that's right. Like you were so resourceful. You were so honest and raw in your book. And I was like, this is true. A lot of people are like, oh, you just do this and it works. But it's not.
There's so many components, right? And who am I to say this is going to work for you or this is going to work for you and this work? Truly, I'm trying to show that it's not about being taught. what is in you just needs to be awakened, and it gets awakened through consistent, dedicated grinding. I call it duct tape. I am a duct tape girl. I am willing to freaking figure it out and duct tape whatever I need to duct tape when I duct tape it. And that has made the difference. That's what's made the difference. And we all have that in us. We all are gritty and need and can be duct tapey. And it doesn't matter if you're making a lot of money and all your dreams are coming. Can you still get to that layer? Because that is the difference. That's what's going to take you to the next level.
And on that note, I'd like to ask, because we actually have a lot of female entrepreneurs listening to this podcast. And I know, our audience have a ton of struggles as entrepreneurs. And as they venture into their own entrepreneurial journey, what advice can you give to the ladies who are listening right now, who are grinding, thinking nobody is watching, their bank account is negative, they're working like 16, 18 hours a day to build their dreams with no guarantees that it'll work out. And in fact, odds are it won't. Like, what is your message to them?
Well, I'm going to go back to your statement. You said, what do you say to these women who are grinding it out and wondering if it's going to work? That's the problem. You're wondering if it's going to work. And as soon as you're questioning whether it's going to work, as soon as you're questioning that maybe you just don't have what it takes, or you don't have the right connections, and you start to really seep and stew and stir in that wondering, that's where you're going to die. That's where it's not going to take place. Your dream is not going to come to fruition. And it's okay to have moments of wondering. We all are going to have that, but shift it quick. Shift it through visualization. See yourself where you want to be. As soon as that state hits you and you're wondering and you're exhausted and you've been grinding it and you're not seeing it, go right into your visualization. Go right into seeing it happening. Move, dance, scream, like play on your favorite song and just feel and see, because that is what's going to make the difference, because you are going to have a lot of hours. And there are going to be moments when you wonder, but you get to decide how to shift that state, because if you stay in that wondering, you're going to not ever get the fruition. So watch that. And there are people that will be like, there's just someone just doesn't have what it takes. Success leaves clues. Success is actually not hard. Success, it really isn't. Like, I know that my business could come to an end and I could do it all over again, because success leaves clues. So the only job you really have, everyone can be successful. The problem is either you're not working hard enough, or you're working a little too hard and you're not living in faith. And you're not just seeing and feeling what it feels like to have whatever you're trying to manifest. You're not really living into that because you're always in the wanting of it. So you're in these two different phases, or you're not, like, for a lot of, this is what I hear a lot of, and I'm just going to go speaking right to you business women. There's a lot of business, because I speak at a lot of different masterminds now. Everybody's wondering how I went from 47 to 8 figures in 5 years. What did we do? How did this happen? And it's because I was sleeping on the floor with tinfoil. I had nothing. I was eating beans and weenies. I'm not afraid to go back there, but I see a lot of entrepreneurs that are holding on to another job or holding on to a certain job and then trying to get to another passion project that they feel in their heart. And they're driving Range Rovers or they're living in a nice house. And I'm like, you are just not willing to get gritty. Like, right. Sell that stuff so you can step into that. Granted, if you're sleeping on the floor, you just got to do what you got to do. Like, I was working multiple jobs, but if you've got stuff around you, like you have just stuff, shoes, clothes, I don't know, like people have so much stuff. I'm baffled, and they're complaining about not having enough for their dream or not enough time. I'm like, go ahead and sell that stuff. Like, you can be on the grounds. I'd rather sleep on the floor, eating nothing, and instead of being in my dream. Like, I want to be in my dream more than I want a posh life. Yeah.
Yes. All kinds of yes.
You gave us so much practical advice there, and also like some emotional support. You really are the total woman.
Your energy is so grounded.
Oh, you guys,
And
I get so passionate. So for those of you that are like new to me, you're like, whoa, she's intense. But it's because I'm like calling you to your truth. Like I feel so called to call people to their truth. Like, what is your truth? Like, what do you really want? And what are you willing to stand in so that you can stand on top of, so that you can be in the fullest expression of who you are in this lifetime? Like, it's go time.
I
Oh my
feel
God.
it. Speaking, can you explain when you say stand on your stories? Because I think this is huge.
Mm.
Because we are sometimes defined by the stories we tell ourselves, and everyone can take the same situation and tell it differently.
That's
But
true.
you say stand on your stories. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm going to explain it in two different ways. So, you guys, my favorite quote was, you are the label when you're inside the box. It's
Yes,
hard
that's
to read the story when you're in the story, right? Like, you're in the waddling of the story. You're like rehashing past pain, rehashing rejection, rehashing unworthiness, rehashing shame over and over and over. It's hard to freaking get on top of the story. And the truth is like everyone has a story, and it's so important to hear your story. It's so important to express your story, but you got to get on top of that story. You got to get on top of it and use it as a stepping stone to your rise. And like, get out of that box so that you can read the label, read what your future's calling of you.
Also, like, speaking of that, being a life coach right now is kind of all the rage. Like the thing to do. It's something like everybody's like wants to play in the NBA. Well, we have you, the NBA player. Like, what are your thoughts on this? Like, who should and shouldn't pursue it? And what should you look for in one if you are looking for a life coach? Like you know how people say like those who can't do teach? You know, well, I believe that
Those who can't do teach, that's so good.
like, I believe, like, I don't know, at some level, you kind of need to walk the walk. Like, do you believe that essentially you have to have your own life together if you're gonna advise others? Because you can screw up. But even you know,
Fine line. I've actually never once wondered about other people and their life coaching, or they're talking about it and they're saying I haven't ever concerned myself with that, because I think there's a fine line with this. Yes, you should have integrity and walk your talk, but there's also that fine line. A lot of us are just waiting until we're damn perfect to start, and you're just never gonna be. So be in your mess and teach from your mess if that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm not here to judge anyone that's like, this is my calling. It's messy and I'm not really like living everything that I'm teaching. Own it. Be honest. If you're gonna ask for money for someone to coach with you, have integrity, and don't tell them you're going to teach them how to make 8 figures if you're not making it, because you obviously haven't figured it out. Like, just have some integrity. But also, if you want to be that coach, just work on yourself. You be your client. You like work through you first. And like own that, like go for it, and know that that's coming on the other end, and you're the greatest client you have.
Wow, that's so yes. Yes. I agree. I think you know, I'm actually a business coach. I coach for beauty entrepreneurs, and it's because I've built a business. But yeah, life coaching in general, like as we always say, like your mess is your message, and I always think that you're always going to be ahead of somebody. Like, you are not last place in life, and anybody that you know who's ahead of you isn't your client. But you're always ahead of someone. You've turned the corner from somebody, and those are your clients. But that's something I wondered what your views on were. So thank you for sharing that.
In your life, how did you come to a place of forgiveness and non-judgment? And when was it time for you to write this book?
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to answer all three. Let me just say this. So the book is called The Rise, and the rise never signifies that you've arrived. The rise never signifies that you have to start somewhere. The rise is simply just you rising up into your fullest expression, however that looks. And I believe, though, the most fundamental important piece to your rise is forgiveness. And this one's an ouchy one. This one is a deep one. And that word forgiveness can feel sticky and icky to some people that have had a lot of pain in their life. So make up your own word. If forgiveness just feels like the word God to you and you just are like, I cannot even, when someone says forgiveness, I just want to choke up and vomit, then find your own word. But I recognized as I was growing and stepping into a lot of like what you would say is external success, that the biggest piece to my happiness and the biggest piece to my rise, and I believe a lot of people would say this who have stepped into full forgiveness of whoever's hurt you or whatever's gone on that's been really painful in your past. Forgiveness is like letting go of those. If you're in a hot air balloon and you're the balloon, you're the basket's off the ground, the hot air's going up into that balloon, but you're still strapped to the ground. And you've got to do the forgiveness piece to unstrap. You can't rise as high as you're meant to rise if you're still holding on to regret and to pain and to resentment and to anger. And it's worth the journey. And it was a 5-year journey for me. Absolutely. So, and I imagine there'll be more for me to work on. And there's things that come up every day that are not as big of a forgiveness practice, but I recognize that I'm always having to step into it. And you have to step it into a small way with your partners, your children, people in your everyday. But then there's certain what I call growth opportunities or teachers these are hard. These are really, really hard ones to forgive, but they're so paramount in your rise. Now, so you guys were asking like how this book came about. So that's that. And then judgment. Judgment is what I've learned is judgment's your invitation for self-love. And so you can write that down. Your judgment towards others or yourself is your invitation for self-love. And how this works, and this is how I use it in my life, take it or leave it, is I have a lot of judgment at random times in my life. So if I look at and it's sneaky, right? So say like I'm scrolling through social and I like compare myself to someone, or I'm like, oh, why did they do a post like that? Or why did they say that? Like, let's go back to maybe even a judgment, since people are now on this page of going, I can't believe this person's saying they're a life coach. Right. They suck. Like, I know what's behind the curtain, and this is not okay to check that out. That's your invitation because you just judged it. For you to go, where am I not stepping into maybe being a life coach? Where in my life am I not being fully honest and in integrity because I see it in someone else? Because every judgment you have is your opportunity to unlayer to the truth of who you are, the truth of what you get to love and forgive in you, and what you get to like look at and step more into or release or whatever. You'll know the truth to whatever you're judging within yourself. So it's really, really powerful exercise for you to grow and rise. Now, going to the third question, which was how this book came about, I have an unusual story with being a Hay House author. Most people turn in book proposals to different publishing houses and get denied over and over. And for me, I always just knew that Hay House is where I wanted to be. That most of the authors that have been under the Hay House umbrella were people that helped me in my rise. They were Wayne Dyer, yeah, Louise Hay. Like, there's so many authors that I listened to in the private of my home, sleeping on the floor with tinfoil, that helped me really step into my power, into my rise. And so for me, I always wanted to write a book with Hay House. And about 4 years ago, I actually had a meeting with Hay House, and I don't even remember what book I wanted to write back then. It was something metaphysical around these lines. And I don't know what it even was. And they denied it. And they asked for my bikini body recipes book for pennies. And I was like, oh, I know for sure that is not the Hay House book I'm supposed to write. Wow. So I turned them down. Wow. And it was like for pennies. I mean, I was selling it for a lot more than what I would have done with Hay House. And I just knew, like, sometimes you have to say no to the very dream because you know it's meant to be bigger, and you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know if that even opportunity is going to come back around. But I had to stay true to who I was, and I knew in my cells that just wasn't the book. And so I said no, and I walked away, never talked to him again. and wondered. I didn't even actually dwell on it too much because I was so convicted in my truth, but so random. Like the end of 2017, I got asked to get on a call with the CEO of Hay House. And I was like, what? Like, I haven't turned in a proposal. And we got on a call and we just started talking. He's like, hey, can I meet you? And I was like, oh, I'm going to be filming in La Jolla. He came to me in La Jolla. We sat on the balcony. And I wasn't even trying to sell him because I was like, oh my gosh, you're best friends with Wayne Dyer and Louise. I'm like, tell me about that. I'm like, I don't even want to try to sell myself because I want to learn from you. And I think that's the key, you guys, is like really understand. And I'm not going to say that's the key for someone else because maybe you need to sell yourself at different times. I just was like, so like, tell me about you. And it was so authentic for how I was feeling in that moment. And we just talked as friends. And then he said, will you just send us some ideas of what you would want to write on? We would love to have you as an author. And I was like, okay. And my logical brain was like, oh, you just write about all these things that sound like really good to write about, right? So I turned them in and they basically came back to me and said, you can write on whatever you want to write on. And I knew in that moment, and they were like, we also want to fast track your book, which is not even ever really done with any authors. It's an 18-month process. They like to stay on their timelines. And they were like, we want you to write this book in 6 weeks. And I knew in that moment when they said, you can write on whatever you want and it's going to be fast track. Can you have it done in 6 weeks? Because we feel strongly about getting you out there sooner than later. I was like, well, this book is so much bigger than me. And that's when I dropped into myself and my soul. And I asked, like, what do you want me to write? And it said basically all the stuff you don't want to share. All the stuff that you're afraid to share because I'm going to tear up now, that you're afraid to be judged on. You're afraid to be misunderstood on. You're afraid you might not be loved through it from family, from your ex, all those things that terrify you because it's in your vulnerability. You talk about self-love, Danette. It's in your vulnerability that you're going to receive more self-love for yourself. And it's in your vulnerability that you're going to give permission for everyone else to step into theirs. And it was like, okay, let's do this. And it was a hard 6 weeks of writing this book day and night. Like me and the editor did not have one day off. 6 hours, sometimes more a day for 6 weeks, digging into stories that I had shoved down, that I had tried to forget, that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even remember. And it's amazing how the body will do that. It will try to forget stories, forget pain so that you can just keep moving on in your life. And I was digging them up. And it was rough. Even my husband's like, so when's this done? Because there's like a dark cloud around you. And I'm like, I have to stay in it. Like I've got to like own what my soul's asking me to own. And I'm terrified. I'm scared to share these stories. And I still am terrified, guys. Yeah. So that's how the book came about.
I don't ever want to let her go.
I'd rather not. Thank you so much, Danette. So much. And thank you so much for, because you're so authentic, because you show up in your truest form, you give everyone else, you've given me the permission to be vulnerable, to say the scary things, to say the things that I feel like I'm going to be judged on. So thank you so much for your example. Just like,
you guys, thank you. Thank you for reading and for still loving me. And, you know, I'm human. And thank you for understanding and seeing why I shared the stories I did. It means a lot to even hear this today. Like, this is like, I'm such that little girl, like every other little girl that wonders, you know, knows she's powerful, but at the other times wonders if she is, right? And we're all in this together. So thank you so much.
It was such a pleasure to read your book. And as you say, like, you empowered me. Just listen, Anthea, is there something else that you're hiding? Like, not hiding, but like not, you know, like you said, you're not paying attention to, or is there something else that is holding you back? And you remind me of Wayne Dyer. When Wayne Dyer is like, this book was just written. I just had to do it. And I feel that same exact energy and that same voice and tone and the power of your vulnerability written through your words. I
Thank you. That's huge compliment. Thank you.
Very, very last question.
What is one advice you would give to all our listeners out there for them to live a pretty rich life?
Just recognize that being rich is a 360-degree experience. That you get to experience health and love and passion and wealth and abundance and all of the 360-degree experience for your richness. You deserve it. It's your birthright. And you just have to claim it and own it.
Amazing. Totally agree. 1,000%. Danette, you've shattered my soul in all the best ways today. I'm seriously, no joke, I am going to listen to this conversation at least 10 times over again. Thank you again.
Thank you for your
so much
vulnerability.
time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling your story, sharing your story, allowing us to fall in love with you, your journey, your story, and your family. Like, I feel like I was like, I'm a part of her family when I was reading it.
Oh, you are for our family. Thank you for that.
And I really hope we get to meet you one day. I'm
Yes,
claiming it. Oh, we're going to meet you one day.
Yeah. Love you, girls, and all the work that you're doing to get these messages out into the world. You guys are doing really good work. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome, Danette. And then I want to go to your next event for
sure. But before we go, can you tell us where we can connect with you and find you?
Well, if you're looking on social, you can go to Facebook or IG at the Danette May, because someone had Danette May, so it is the Danette May. And then, or you can go on my website, which offers free content every single day, new free content every single day at DanetteMay.com.
DanetteMay.com. DANETTEMAY.com.
And your book, where can we get your book?
Just go to DanetteMay.com/book.
Or Barnes & Noble.
Or Barnes & Noble, or any bookstore, really. Yeah, you can go on Amazon, bookstores. It's all over now.
Take a selfie.
Yes, please. I want to see you.
You will today. So we'll
thank you, guys. I appreciate that, actually.
We love you so much. Be incredibly blessed. You deserve every ounce of happiness that you have been bestowed upon. Thank you, Danette. We love you. Love you.
Love you guys too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening. It is an honor to spend time with you and be a part of your life. If you enjoyed this podcast or were impacted by this at all, please take a minute to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes and share it with a friend. Screenshot it, post it on your stories, your feed, and don't forget to tag me. I would really love to see that. My Instagram is @RealSheilabella, and my co-host is @OfficialAnthea. Also, let's carry on the conversation longer. Join our private Facebook group just for Pretty Rich Girls. Search Pretty Rich Podcast. Check out SheilaBella.com for more information on how to get more support on beauty entrepreneur mentorship and get going on your pretty rich lifestyle. God bless you guys. Until next time.